So here we are. Let's see. How many days have we been dealing with construction on the La Fontaine tunnel? Let me count. So there was second day into dealing with traffic in the La Fontaine tunnel, and it's been a bit of a, I want to try to find the
Don't
right
swear.
word that I can use on family radio.
No swearing.
It's been difficult, although Monday morning, I think people all got sidetracked by the fact that traffic was much better than anyone had predicted. That lasted all of one commute.
One way.
Because the afternoon was absolutely horrid. But today, well, look, the reason I bring this up is because you may remember before this even happened, there was a lot of talk about, truck drivers here, people who are in that business who are going to be the ones most affected by this, carrying loads in and out of the city. And there had been some suggestions made to the government that maybe one of the ways around this was to consider letting trucks actually carry more, which would create the need for less trucks by carrying more stuff. The government said they'd consider it. I should point out from the government's own numbers, they estimate 16,000 trucks per day go through the La Fontaine tunnel. So obviously this is a huge issue. I thought we'd try to find out where we are on this so we don't have to wait 3 years. MARC CADIEUX is president and CEO of the Quebec Trucking Association. He's online right now. Monsieur CADIEUX, thanks for the time today.
Good day, Aaron. Good day, Natasha. You scooped me quite a lot with all the lists that you've.
Oh well.
But it's okay. We'll update that one.
Well, let's get to it, because the first thing we had heard last week was, and it seemed like a reasonable idea, at least at the beginning, which was, hey, if this is going to affect truckers the most, let's at least consider letting them to take more to cut down on the number of trucks. Where are we with that? Because the government said they heard the idea, but nothing's been decided.
Well, our last meeting was with the Minister, Madame Guilbeault, last Friday afternoon at 2:00. So we're still, but some of the committees were already studying on that. We are still awaiting on some answers. There are obviously more than one partner. There's the Quebec government, and there's also the City of Montreal who's involved. As we would wish we'd be able to have more capacity, more long combination vehicles to be used, but some areas might be a little tricky. But the forecast at this time is there is certain aspects of it that are feasible, and we think that with the shortage of workers and with the problematic also of greenhouse emissions, it would be greater if we could carry more. But there are quite a few other brought up subjects. There's also extended hours in the morning to be able to have access to the Port of Montreal. They are bringing up often the night hours, night shifts. It is yes, but there's maybe we won't get enough workers to have a full shift. There's also the possibility of having dedicated hours in the tunnel if we would be with a problematic of the logistics chain through the tunnel and moving out merchandises from the Port of Montreal.
Am I right in sensing some frustration in your voice that this hadn't been figured out before now?
Well, there are quite a few things that were on the table and that are already in place. I mean, it is not of my sector to enhance the public transit, but I became a promoter of it, obviously. The parking lots that were created for the users to be used, and unfortunately, we don't think they're used enough. Mm-hmm. These are still measures that the government had still working on for over a year. The configurations, obviously, the last configuration who brings more the whole issue into more a bottleneck is obviously the surprise of the state of the both tunnels, but not being able to be used during the construction, so that we are obviously subtracted from one tunnel in the reasons of security and the state, obviously, of the infrastructure that is more disastrous than it was at the beginning.
You know, I'm always curious, Mark, about when you come up with suggestions that seem logical and common sense, that governments take the longest to have to decide on those. But in the case, and this seemed to me to be maybe one of those, yes, the loads, although I'm sure part of the government's argument might be, and I don't know anything about trucking, that, you know, carrying those bigger loads might in fact hurt the roadways, and that's going to create a problem of its own. But that aside, what about the idea of having just a dedicated lane for trucks? Was that discussed?
There is that possibility also, and the dedicated line also used by public transit could be obviously more exploited if we had access to it. But you know, in the coming configuration in the tunnel, on one side there is only one lane, so that right. would be a little tough. On the other side, but there are discussions on the table, and I have to say that the minister last Friday. And don't forget, we went through also election time, so there was like a gap. But we still were working with the Quebec Transport Department. But the minister last Friday seemed pretty on a fast track mode. Okay. She is, and I do know for questions that were asked to me after by the department that she's asking a lot of questions and she's challenging the teams, which has to be done. And I will obviously give her the chance to prove that she will move on some extra measures.
Has there been any talk of financial assistance, any subsidies given the high price of fuel and the fact that there will be major delays due to the traffic?
The Port of Montreal, and because we have scenarios of we might have to haul out certain containers on other lands to be more at times of the day where it would be more obvious to move them out. That could have a cost. Yes, these were brought up in sort of like in a question mark. Who will pay for that? Who will support that? So these are still questions that are up around the table. But the gas situation has been existing for quite a while. Mm-hmm. I was 3 weeks ago in Vancouver in BC, and price of regular gas in certain areas were $2.40 a liter. So it is a problematic. It has increased obviously our goods on the shelves. As we know, the price of gas and our operation fees have exploded and will continue to move on in extra cost. So that obviously will have a repercussion on the price of the prices mm-hmm. of goods.
So I said off the top, Mark, it's only been a couple of days. Here we are Tuesday, kind of half joking. And I read a piece this morning, the government suggesting that, yes, while everyone may have listened on Monday morning, apparently by Monday afternoon they all forgot. But it's going to take a little while to assess, I don't know if that means days or weeks, how this plays out. What have you heard back from your drivers so far?
Well, Madame Guilbeault said that she would keep the data updated during the 2 or 3 coming weeks to take more drastic decisions if drastic decisions had to be taken. And I think yesterday and today are not necessarily the real picture. If it was, I think that we could fit on just a few more measures. But as we all think and speak about it, we doubt that will be the final figure, and hoping it could be as close as possible as what we saw yesterday morning. But Mondays and Fridays are working days from home offices that are the most popular days. And it's a bit, and the media had been rolling the news that it would be horrible Monday morning. Yeah. So I think it's like announcing the worst weather storm the next day, and mm-hmm. everybody is off the road. So, but we'll be able to figure a little more in the coming 2 weeks.
Mark, let me ask you before we run out of time here: how are the truckers handling it? Is there a growing sense of frustration, or is it just kind of acceptance that this is it is what it is?
Well, it is what it is, but with certain frustrations. Obviously, it's normal as a human being. And even the regular users. There's not only the truck drivers that are involved in all this, and the industry is carrying also the jobs of other sectors of activities. As we know, we carry the merchandise to the expeditors that are manufacturers. We bring what's on your shelves in a grocery stores. So obviously, there are other jobs at the other end that are at stakes. We know that in different areas, also people are thinking about changing jobs, but they have nothing to do with the trucking industry and nothing to do. But they just can't handle the waiting times to get in and out of Montreal. So yes, there is, I would say, a mitigated acceptance about this, but there are also frustrations in the industry.
All right, Mark, let's keep our fingers crossed. If it takes a couple of weeks and we can figure this out, I guess that's a win. So good luck to you, and good luck to all the truckers out there just trying to do their job. Thanks so much for your time today.
Thanks for your interview.